Like a Dragon Ishin is a video game set in the 19th century Japan during the Bakumatsu period, and it's a remake of the 2014 game Ryuga Gotoku Ishin, which is meant to be a historical spin-off in the long-standing Yakuza series, released originally both for the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 only in Japan. This is an action-adventure game that follows the story of a former Ronin named Sakamoto Ryoma, who is on a quest for revenge against the people who betrayed him. The story is full of historical references and characters, and the game's setting aims to reflect the Edo era in Japan. Like other games in the Yakuza series, Like a Dragon Ishin features a mix of open-world exploration, action combat, and role-playing elements. Players can engage in various side activities and minigames such as gambling, fishing, and karaoke. The combat system is based on a real-time brawler style with the ability to switch between different fighting styles. The game has been reviewed positively for its unique and historically rich setting, engaging gameplay, and well-written story, but also criticized for its lack of innovation and outdated mechanics. This remake is available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC.
ことだ。まったく相変わらずだ、お前さんは。
Like a Dragon Ishin is a video game set in Japan during the Bakumatsu period, which was a time of political upheaval and social change in the 19th century Edo era. The main character, Sakamoto Ryoma, is a former Ronin who is seeking revenge for the deaths of his adoptive father, killed by a secret organization called the Shinsengumi. As Sakamoto Ryoma's journey for revenge continues, he becomes embroiled in the political turmoil of the time period, including conflicts between different factions and the rise of the Meiji Restoration movement. Along the way, he meets a variety of interesting characters, both historical and fictional, who aid him in his quest. Ryoma also gets involved in a larger political conflict between the imperialists and the shogunate, and becomes a key figure in the movement to restore the emperor's power and bring about social and political reforms. As Ryoma progresses in his mission, he faces numerous challenges, including battles with powerful enemies, navigating intricate political intrigues, and dealing with personal conflicts. The plot delves into themes of justice, honor, loyalty, and sacrifice as Ryoma fights for his beliefs and struggles to bring about change in a turbulent era of Japanese history. The game features a combination of action-based combat, exploration, and character-driven storytelling to immerse players in Ryoma's journey to seek justice and make a difference in the world around him. Ryoma himself shares the same appearance, voice actor, and a lot of the personality traits of Kazuma Kiryu, the most notable protagonist in the mainline Yakuza games. Other characters of the mainline series are similarly reimagined in the historical context of this game. Critics mostly view the story of Like a Dragon Ishin as engaging and compelling, with a mix of serious and humorous moments, along with interesting and well-developed characters. The game's narrative was commended for its depth, emotional impact, and intriguing plot twists, which are all somewhat common elements in the series by now. Praises have also been made to the game's attention to detail in recreating the historical setting of feudal Japan, particularly the Edo era. Many reviewers have mentioned the authenticity of the game's depiction of samurai culture, including the use of traditional weapons, costumes, and language. Some critics have also highlighted the game's portrayal of historical events and characters, noting that it provides players with a unique insight into Japanese history. However, it's important to mention the game does take some liberties of historical accuracy for the sake of gameplay and storytelling, but these deviations are generally seen as minor and do not detract from the overall experience. It's also worth noting that the series is known for its constant long and dramatic cutscenes, which can be either a positive or negative aspect depending on the player's expectations, as those coming into the game strictly for the action and exploration might find it that these will affect the overall pacing of the game. Additionally, the game's localization and translation may not be as polished as expected, with an occasional awkward dialogue or text that may impact the overall impression and enjoyment of the story. Last but not least, Like a Dragon Ishin might not be accessible or enjoyable for those who are new to the Yakuza series or unfamiliar with Japanese history and culture. The game's setting and story heavily rely on Japanese historical context, which may be challenging for some players to fully appreciate without prior knowledge. The game is a remake remaster of the original Ryuga Gotoku Ishin from 2014, and the gameplay here is similar to the other games in the Yakuza series, in which players explore the open world environment of Kyo, interacting with various characters and completing quests to progress the main story. Combat in Like a Dragon Ishin is also similar to previous Yakuza games, with players engaging in real-time battles against enemies using hand-to-hand combat and weapons. Players will have the ability to switch between 4 different fighting styles, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. These styles include Brawler, which is unarmed and focused on rapid melee attacks, Swordsman, which delivers katana-based melee attacks for higher damage, Gunman, which delivers ranged attacks through the use of a revolver, and Wild Dancer, which uses both the katana and the revolver to deliver powerful combos at the expense of defense. In addition to these styles, players can also use hit actions, which are powerful finishing moves that can be triggered under certain conditions, such as when an enemy is stunned or when the player has built enough heat during a combat. These moves can deal massive damage and are often visually impressive, making them a satisfying way to end a fight. The combat system has been generally praised for its fast-paced, strategic, and satisfying gameplay. The ability to switch between various fighting styles with unique strengths and weaknesses, as well as the ability to execute powerful and visually impressive finishing moves through hit actions, are highlighted as strengths of the game. However, some reviewers have mentioned that the combat system can feel slightly repetitive or clunky at times, with limited variations in moves, enemy types, or strategies. Additionally, reviewers have pointed out that the camera can be frustrating during battles, which can detract from the overall experience. Despite these minor shortcomings, the game's combat system is still widely considered to be one of its biggest strengths, and is sure to provide players with hours of immersive and engaging gameplay. Strengths of the game's exploration are evident in its detailed world, immersive atmosphere, open world design, side activities, and cultural references. The game has been praised for its meticulous recreation of historical Japan, with attention to detail in its setting, landmarks, traditions, and customs. This creates an immersive atmosphere that makes the game's world feel alive, with realistic environments, NPCs, and activities that draw players into the game's world. The open world design allows for freedom of movement and exploration with multiple areas to discover, and inclusion of side activities such as minigames, side quests, and hidden collectibles enhances the exploration experience, adding depth and replayability to the game. However, there are also weaknesses in the game exploration that some reviewers have mentioned, such as the fact that the exploration mechanics may feel repetitive or lacking in innovation with limited interactivity or outdated design. Furthermore, some reviewers have mentioned that the game's world may lack in variety in terms of activities or points of interest, which can make exploration feel repetitive or monotonous after a while. Limited exploration options such as linear or scripted sequences can also restrict players' agency or freedom in exploring the world. And inconsistent pacing with slow moments or lack of clear direction can affect the overall enjoyment of exploration.
何
Like a Dragon Ishin has received mixed reviews regarding its visual and sound. The game's attention to detail and authentic setting have been highly appreciated, adding to the immersion of the game. The graphics, particularly the portrayal of the historical Edo period in Japan, have been praised for their realism, detail, and vividness. However, some players have noted occasional graphical glitches that can detract from the overall experience. While not numerous, these glitches can be frustrating and hamper the player's enjoyment of the game. Additionally, the lack of variety in the music has been a point of criticism, with some tracks being overused or repetitive. Despite this, the music has been well received by players who appreciate authentic Japanese instruments and how well it fits the game's setting. The voice acting, particularly the Japanese voiceovers, has been noted for its quality and further adds to the immersive experience of the game. In terms of performance, in current-gen consoles, the machines target 60 frames per second and deliver a mostly solid performance except for cutscene sequences, but some occasional in-game frame rate drops are noticeable. Both the PS5 and the Series X offer a small but perceptible increase in graphic details over the Series S. Compared to the original PS3 release, character models have also been seen a comprehensive upgrade, with hair appearing to be strand-based, skin textures and lightning response seeming much more realistic, and facial geometry being refined. Like a Dragon Ishin is a unique and engaging video game that provides players with a deeply immersive and somewhat historically accurate experience. The game's setting in feudal Japan during the Edo period is meticulously created, offering players an unparalleled insight into Japanese history and culture. Moreover, the game's storyline is expertly crafted, with intricate plotlines and well-developed characters that keep players engaged and invested in the game's outcome. The game's combat system is also highly praised for its strategic depth and challenging gameplay, while the exploration mechanics provide players with a vast open world environment to explore and discover. While there may be some minor issues with occasional technical glitches and a lack of innovation, the overall experience of playing Like a Dragon Ishin is mostly satisfying, thanks to the numerous hours of gameplay and engaging story. Those who never found themselves invested in the Yakuza franchise before will hardly see this as a game changer, since all the attributes that these games are known for are present here, including frequent cutscenes that some players might find exhausting. But overall, this entry is an excellent addition to the Yakuza series and a must play for anyone interested in Japanese history and culture. Before we wrap this up, I'd like to give a shout out to Jane Bullock's channel for sharing the footage you see in this video. For the full gameplay of the game, you can check his channel linked in the description. And if you like this review, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. See you all in the next all-in-one review.